Welcome to Beacon of Creation, a weekly podcast on game design through the lens of Magic the Gathering. I'm Tim.
I'm Dylan, also known as IgnitedxSoul.
And I'm Khord.
Great to have both of you back on the pod. You two and two others have been working on kind of a big project in the Discord lately. Beacon Constructed. What's the gist here?
It's a format made up of a selection of full sets that are, I believe, all draftable and shoved together in a standard format of sets that were made by Beacon of Creation frequenters.
Both of you have one set in here, is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
And then we've got two sets from Crafted Lava is True, who's been on the pod once or twice, I think. And then a pair of sets from Red Bay and a little bit of Mono White Border in there too. These are 6 full-size custom sets, full projects. You've all worked on them at different amounts of time. Some of them are still being worked on. And so part of the idea here is that we're not just, doing test drafts, which is now a reasonably common thing to do on the Discord and in other communities, where you have people go through the draft phase and, make a deck and maybe play games, but probably not. You get 8 people or 7 people together to do a test draft. You want to do test constructed, but doing test constructed with just one set is often a little bit awkward. Part of the idea here is that what is it actually like to use your set to make an actual constructed deck? That might just be the reason to make a format, right? Like there's Revolution, which is like a bigger, longer standing, rotating custom set format. But here, this is just like a little pocket, just all of you that all kind of know each other and are all working together.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing quite like the experience of playing with your cards in the presence of a group of other people's cards. It's one thing to do your draft like you're talking about and play your cards internally, but to throw them together with just a group of other people and have a pool as large as 1,600 cards like we have, it's an experience that you don't really get any other way than just getting people together and saying, let's just do it. Let's just make it happen.
Yeah. What finally made it so no, we're gonna do this?
I joined, I think, at the beginning of the final build up.
Okay.
But I think when we had 6 sets with Leftway, that's I think what felt to me was like, oh, this is happening.
Oh, okay.
The ideation for this format happened well in advance. I could actually search my conversation history with Red Bay to find it, but I know it was around the time that Outpost Zero got a project channel.
Oh, okay.
Where Red Bay was like, we have several people in the Beacon of Creation server working on sets.
Yeah.
And he, I think it started out kind of like a joke where he's like, well, when are we doing Beacon of Creation Standard then?
Yeah.
And he and Mono White Border made another set. And then he got more serious. He's like, are we actually going to do this? And then eventually he was like, you know what? We're just going to get everyone together. We're just going to make it happen. So he just started pulling all the designers in that had sets that were nearly completed or done. And was like, let's just do it. Let's just make it happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is an interesting kind of collaboration compared to maybe making a set together. I feel like there are a lot of hazards to trying to make your own custom set together that, some of you have probably run into. Who makes the final call on these cards? What should we work on? Do we agree on this mechanic? When are we making rares? Should we wait until we figure out all kinds of mechanics? Should we do test drafts of just uncommons? All that kind of stuff. But if you're at the point where each person individually has made a set and they're in charge of that set, but you're just kind of making a conference of all of them together, that might even out some of those points where everyone's still making the final call, I assume, on a card from Outpost Zero is really awkward in the standard format. Would you make a change? I assume that you're making the final call on that.
Yeah, for the most part, each designer gets afforded the opportunity to make final calls for their sets.
Yeah.
And then inversely, because of that, I think in part, each designer is more than willing to make sacrifices for the sake of the environment as a whole.
Yeah.
I would say for the most part, we've worked very well collaboratively as a team. When we found these kind of problem parts where these two cards had a really awkward interaction or one card ended up being way stronger than we anticipated, people seem to be more than willing to work together to find solutions that worked rather than being oh, well, this is my card, this is my baby, I don't want you hurting it.
Yeah. And another piece to that feels like it works pretty well is a classic problem of designing your own Magic set is how do I get people to play this with me? There are 1,000 people who have cried that out. And I've worked so hard on this set, and I've made art for all the cards. I've designed 1,000,000 mechanics. I've play tested, I've done test drafts myself. But how do I get other people to play with it? Well, in this case, you've got a bunch of other really motivated people to play with. You've got other people who also want their set played. And the way for everyone to get what they want is to just all do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, in this part, the supply and the demand are kind of the same resource.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I've even been in cube communities and stuff where, hey, I have a cube, I'd like to get it played. Well, you kind of need to join the community first, play for a couple weeks, and then say, hey, could we get mine in the rotation? That kind of stuff. And it's like a little awkward to feel like you're, getting started or whatever. But here, all of you are contributing something to the same pool, and you're all excited to play with it, I guess.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that might hold people back is they'll look at MSCM or Revolution and be like, well, there's already successful formats, and like that might put people off on like, but like the thing is, you just need to sit down and have the fun experience of playing your cards together. Like the goal doesn't need to be to make this amazing, long-standing, like really well-balanced format like Revolution and MSCM.
Run tournaments, yeah.
No, yeah, your goal could just be, hey, let's just get together and play our cards.
Yeah.
Isn't that really what it's all about?
Yeah. Let's just do a bunch of deck building, Everyone knows some of the cards in every deck because they designed those cards. And so it's like a kind of an addictive thing. You see like 4 of your cards in the deck, and now you want to learn about every other card in the deck.
Yeah.
Huh. Wow. This is making a ton of sense to me. Probably what we'll do first is just get like a little bit of just like a high level rundown of the 6 sets. And then we're going to do like a fun activity after that, which we'll talk about. So what's our first set we want to talk about?
Jardeka Age of Rust.
One of Crafted sets. What's the pitch here?
It's very much a like the end of a sci-fi society where there's like all this high-tech stuff, but also a lot of things going wrong. There's pollution and manufacturing defects and apocalypse.
We got artifact themes. What are some of the things that you've noticed so far?
Yeah, heavy artifact and specifically equipment themes.
Oh, okay. An equipment theme is something that seems especially well suited for combining multiple sets together, because any given set is not that likely to have a ton of good equipment, like a ton of constructed equipment. So maybe when you plug in a couple other sets, you get something cool.
I've seen, I think, 3 different equipment decks kicking around.
I can talk about Left Way is Made next.
Sure.
So Left Way is Made also by Crafted Lava is true.
Yeah. What's the Left Way? Do we know?
Left Way is the name of the plane itself. Oh. So this is a surrealist fantasy set where the world is amorphous and is coming into being as the story is actively being told.
Whoa.
And this is represented in some really strange mechanics, particularly with the unique use of dual-typed cards that typically are types that aren't paired together. In this case, you get things like instant or sorcery creatures.
Oh.
You can play it as an instant creature, so it is both an instant spell and a creature spell, and it resolves its effect like an instant, but then it enters the battlefield as a creature. Or all of these dual typed have abilities that allow you to cast them as the other type for a cheaper cost, but you get kind of less of them. So it's sort of like what's the word for
evoke? Or
yeah, it's kind of like an evoke on it. And then the set has a lot of stuff that interfaces with caring about things with multiple types, and it all comes together to have this really kind of surrealist or strange or odd vibe to it. This world that isn't really fully formed.
Bunch of instant sorcery matters kind of cards, probably.
Yeah, magecraft type stuff.
Wow. So we got artifact, maybe graveyard stuff, and then into instant sorcery kind of stuff, or multi-type crossover. I guess multi-type, the built-in ones are like artifact creature that normally count, right?
Yeah, so artifact and enchantment creatures do count as the as anomalous, is what the Left Way is Made has to describe cards with multiple types. And it interfaces very well with Jardeka having a lot of artifact creatures, and then we'll get into Outpost Zero, which also has a heavy amount of artifact creatures.
Yeah, Outpost Zero we had on the pod a little while ago, so people might know that pretty well. That's your set.
Yeah. So next on the list actually is Outpost Zero.
Yeah.
Outpost Zero is a sci-fi horror set, heavy artifact themes, cares a lot about counters, and has a lot of graveyard interaction or using the graveyard for value. Very inspired by things like The Thing or Pitch Black. Very much like a dark, gritty sci-fi setting.
Got a lot of intense thematic sets so far. The end of the world, the creation of the world, a bunch of people on a space station trying to survive.
Yeah, very intense.
Next up is Stars of Sinistera, which is by Mono White Border and Red Bay. I believe this was also on the pod a little while ago.
Yeah.
It was their
Yeah.
like 1 month project. This set is based on movie tropes and very like all sorts of different genres.
Yeah.
There's a auras theme,
Yeah.
which works pretty well. You know, we've got counters, we've got auras, we've got equipment. There's modified kicking around. You also have some legendary matters and a good variety of fun mechanics to play around with.
There's Western, there's sci-fi, there's zombies, there's
Kaijus.
romance. Then we got Vokal, also been on the podcast. Tell us about Vokal.
When Vokal was on the podcast, it was actually the micro set version of it.
Yeah.
I made a small spin-off micro set for the microset format, but this is the full main set. It's a set based around the flavor of vocal performance with a heavy lean on sagas as the like keystone mechanic. So there's some enchantment matters because sagas die. There's enchantments dying matters, as well as some various token themes and counters matter themes as well.
You have a couple creatures that almost work sort of like a saga where they get lore counters and then they get some ability.
Yeah, there's a couple of creatures with chapter abilities.
Yeah.
So when you get that many lore counters, they'll trigger that ability.
All right, and then last up, Wrenchmar.
Yeah, last up is Wrenchmar, Gambit of the Junk Lords, also by Mono White Border and Red Bay. This is also a pseudo post-apocalyptic sci-fi world. This is more akin to a like trash world, kind of like the aftermath of WALL-E type planet.
Yeah.
Where everyone's living in this big wasteland and they're trying to kind of figure out what they're going to do in that scenario. The focal point of this set's actually a mythic creature called the Beast. You have lots of people who are worshiping and calling to the Beast and bringing out this mass of trash that is basically a god worth worshiping. This set has also very heavy artifact themes. You'll notice a trend in Beacon Constructed.
Yeah.
But there's also strong themes for vehicles, as well as the junk tokens originally from the Fallout set.
Heavy. I guess that's another part about making a format like this. If we're making some long-standing rotating format, it's kind of necessary for there to be like a wide variety of like powerful archetypes. But here, if like artifacts are like half of what the themes are, fine. Like it's still going to take you 200 hours to explore all those decks. Like this isn't something that has to, live for millions of people.
I would argue, even if we spent all of our time in the next year or two, we could not explore all the possible decks.
Yeah. Part of this that I'm learning is that it's taking some of the pressure that I would have put on myself about what it takes to start up a format and alleviating that pressure. Yeah, so we got 6 sets here. Were there any things that when you started digging into each other's sets that like jumped out as like, oh, I didn't expect to see that there? Or what were the big surprising things about the other sets that you learned as you learned about them?
I mean, like everything about Leftway.
Leftway being the kind of abstract, what is going on kind of set.
Yeah, there's storm cards, there's instant creatures. It took a good moment to kind of grasp how that set interacted with other pieces.
There's a spectrum on how much we're exploring new design space.
Yeah.
If you look at like Outpost Zero, for example, that set is very grounded in existing mechanical space. There's nothing that Outpost Zero is doing that couldn't feasibly be done in canon, or would be surprising if WotC were to do it. And then you get the Red Bay mono white border sets that are a little bit more exploratory in their stuff, with like Call the Beast, for example, being rather deep in its mechanical presence and kind of warping. And then you get Leftway and Vote Gal, which are more than willing to just like explore the crazy, wacky ideas. And having that spectrum of design, I think, is really interesting. Like, I'm watching people explore things that I wouldn't have had the courage to do of my own, and seeing them succeed at it is really fun and fascinating. And then watching how it feels to play and how it interfaces with my designs as well.
Yeah, yeah. Alrighty, well, maybe what we'll do there is we'll start exploring all this together. So we're going to try to build a deck for Beacon Constructed today. To try to keep this, this is an audio format. You're not going to be able to see the cards. I'm also not going to see the cards. So anything they want about this deck to be said or for me to know it, they're going to have to tell me, and hopefully also tell you, the listener, as well. Before the pod, we were kind of talking about some ideas, but what's our kind of starting idea? What are we going for?
So the idea is to pull on a deck string that hasn't really been played around with yet in the format, which in this case is Simic blue-green counters. To do this, we've took a card from Volkgal, Double Time Shanty.
The privilege of being on the episode is that you get to pick your pet card that has been unexplored.
Yes, exactly.
Love it.
It's a sorcery for green, blue or green, and then blue. So 3 mana value total. Remove all counters from target permanent. For each counter removed this way, put 2 counters of that type on that permanent. And then it also has Overload for green, 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 blue, blue, blue.
Green, green, green. So 6 mana?
So 6 mana.
And this is permanents you control, or
All the original hits target permanent.
Okay. So this is gonna.
So this hits everything.
Oh, crazy. Okay.
With a counter on it,
which might have some unintended side effects, but I guess we'll learn that as we go.
Yeah.
This is sort of proliferate, but explosive with things that care about counters being put on them. So I guess sagas?
It will re-trigger, in most cases, at least the first 2 chapters of your saga will trigger. Usually this will trigger every chapter of every saga on the battlefield and then finish them all off.
Okay. So I guess we need to spin a couple plates. We have to have like a saga, a creature with some counters on it into a saga that's going to advance a little bit into casting the spell. And then we're going to double everything. I guess doubling counters on planeswalkers is going to be okay. I guess so. It's all in one spell resolution. So we're going to slurp them all off. We're going to have a naked planeswalker for a millisecond. But there's no priority in between, so we're able to pull them all off and then put even more on safely.
Yep, and same goes with all of your 0/0 creatures that enter with counters, right?
Yeah, like Hydras or something, yeah.
Like your Hydras. Oh. A card that's been talked about recently in the chat is, what is it called?
Serpent, Void Serpent?
Serpent of the Void.
Oh, give me that card.
Sure. I'll read to you what the current text is, and then I'll tell you what the intention is to change it, because the discussions have made us realize that it is kind of broken. So Serpent of the Void is an artifact creature serpent implant for X. This creature enters with X +1/+1 counters. It's a 0/0, so it'll enter as a whatever you cast it for. Whenever a player would cast a spell with a mana value equal to the number of +1/+1 counters on this creature, counter that spell.
Oh.
And it has 1 tap, sacrifices artifact, put its counters on target creature, activate only as a sorcery.
What was the cost on that again?
Just X, and then 2 for the ability to sack it. It's 1 tap, sack, move its counters to another creature.
Oh, okay.
So we were discussing kind of the context of this card and how the play patterns of it would be, and we realized very quickly that this is rather aggressive, costing just X, and similar examples in canon are usually double X in the cost. So this is most likely very soon going to change in cost to XX instead of just an X.
Because it's like Chalice of the Void, is that right?
Yeah, that's the pool. Yep.
Okay. Oh, because it's Serpent or Hydra of the Void.
Yeah, this
Serpent
is
of-
Serpent of the Void. Yep.
Yeah. Should we deck build with it like it is, or how do you think we should proceed with playing with that card?
I think we should keep it as is for now. Patch notes aren't out yet. Patch
Okay.
notes won't happen by the time episode comes out, I think.
Get it in a couple more games with Vivi before it gets banned.
Right. Well, I think the card is still viable in this context, even with
All
the
right,
cost
yeah.
being double X.
Yeah.
There's a handful in the format. There's a handful of double X cards. Hold on. To enters with X.
There's 2 double X and 1 triple X.
And then also there's also a Hydra in Vote Gal.
Ooh.
Yes. I think it's X Simic.
It has Defender, Vigilance, Reach, enters with X counters, and it also has the ability Finale from Vocal Echoes, which is whenever an enchantment is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, something occurs. In this case, this creature loses Defender, which has interesting implications in the context of Double Time Shanty that would presumably kill all of your
Your sagas.
sagas, enabling Finale, so your Hydra would double its counters and then no longer have Defender, so it would be able to attack.
Wait, what was that interaction again? What was that?
So because Crestbreak Hydra has Defender, unless an enchantment you control died this turn, Double Time Shanty
Oh, unless it, okay.
would kill your sagas when it resolves because it puts more lore counters on them than they have chapters. Then Crestbreak Hydra would then be able to attack that turn after doubling its counters.
So we set up one or two things. We set up a saga. We play this Hydra, and then the turn after, it's Zupin time.
No, it's that same turn.
I guess if you have enough mana, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I was thinking. Yeah, the same turn you double time, you want to be attacking with this Hydra.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little undersized for the cost normally for constructed, I would say. Like 5 mana, 4/4, 6 mana, 5/5. It's a little undersized. But because we know we just want to block with it for a turn and then zoop, go into doubling its size, we're okay with that.
Now, if we wanted to go full combo mode with Double Time Shanty, we could look at Steel Storm Conduit. So Steel Storm Conduit is from Jardeka.
Oh,
It's an artifact that costs XXX, so 3 X symbols.
Oh, yeah.
And it enters with X nanite counters. And it says you can cast artifact spells with mana values less than or equal to the number of nanite counters on this artifact without paying their mana cost.
You can cast artifact spells. So if I spend 3 mana, I can now cast 1 mana artifacts forever. If I spend 6 mana, I can now cast 2 mana artifacts forever.
Yep. But Double Time Shanty would double the number of counters on it whenever that time rolls around. Now that's 2 pieces that would need to set up to even be able to get free casts of other stuff later, so it might not have a very strong interaction.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anywhere else we could get nanite counters from?
Well, you can with Experiment.
Oh, yeah, you could just add counters with Experiment.
Let's experiment.
So Experiment is a mechanic from Outpost Zero that you can either add or remove a type of counter already on the card, or you can put a +1/+1 counter on the target.
It's a little bit proliferate, a little bit, hey, you don't have the counter yet? Don't worry, I can spot you the first counter.
Yeah, it also can interact interestingly with things like Decayed or Finality. Decayed Finality or stun counters that could remove those ones that would be harmful to you to give you further advantages.
Can also remove lore counters from sagas.
It can, in fact, remove lore counters from sagas, which might be very useful in this context.
Let's see, what good specimen creating cards do we have in blue and green that are
Because you
cheap?
can experiment, just like a card might say, experiment on up to 3 creatures or whatever. But you also have these specimen tokens, kind of like maps, where it kind of bottles up the ability to experiment onto a token that you can deploy later.
Yes.
Okay. So I got some things with counters. We need to do some things to get on board. Maybe getting on board isn't too bad because we're going to play these hydras or some other creatures. I guess creatures that enter with counters on them are pretty advantageous. Things we can do for 2 or 3 mana we might want to start looking at.
Yeah, so we have a card from Wrenchmar called Techno Compies. This is a 1-cost artifact creature for green. It's an 0/1 dinosaur construct. Whenever you put one or more +1/+1 counters on another permanent you control, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. This ability triggers only once each turn. And when this creature dies, create a junk token for each counter on it.
So this grows when other things grow. And then when it dies, you get a bunch of junk. Junk is kind of a cousin of a clue. It's, you use it up and then you exile the top card you can cast at this turn.
Yeah, 1 junk is 1 impulse draw.
So we play that on turn 1, and then we start putting counters on other things, or we start playing things that enter with counters.
I'm trying to map out a play curve of this deck.
Yeah, I got another strong card from Rinchmar lined up that I think would do a lot of work here as well.
Yeah.
This card is Recyclatron.
Oh, yes.
This is a 2-cost artifact creature for green. It's a 2/2 construct. It has trample. And then it has 1 mana, tap, sacrifice another artifact. Put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Search your library for a creature card with mana value equal to or less than the number of +1/+1 counters on this creature.
What?
Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. So if you double the counters on it, all of a sudden you can search for something that has a ton of counters or that has a really high mana value. But at a baseline, this can be used to sacrifice like a trinket token, like you could sacrifice a specimen or a junk and search for your 1-drop.
And serpent.
Or you can search for your the serpent that we were talking about because it has a mana value of 0.
So Recyclatron is a 2-mana 2/2 with trample, I think, and then has this ability. Sort of like sack an artifact, draw a card, but like tutor a card, like somewhat better than draw, somewhat worse than draw, something like that. So I get to turn artifacts into cards and then get a couple counters along the way.
I like this artifact shell we have going on with Technocompy's Serpent of the Void and Recyclatron. I don't think Crestbreak Hydra is going to fit into the deck anymore.
No, I would agree with that. But I do have another 0 mana value artifact creature that I think would do a lot of work here. I have Path Treading Tank from Outpost 0. This is an artifact creature construct, 0/0 creature that costs XX to cast. It enters with X +1/+1 counters, and it has the ability, remove 2 +1/+1 counters from this creature. Target creature can't block this turn. And then it also has 1 tap, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. So the ability to shut down your opponent's ability to block, particularly if you've put a ton of counters on it with something like Double Time Shanty, you could potentially pull all of your opponent's blockers out of the equation just to swing for lethal.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked a little bit about sagas. What are the sagas that we might be aiming for?
Ancestral Tale might just be good enough on its own, just as card draw.
What's that one?
It's a saga for blue. It has chapters 1, 2, and 3. You may pay hybrid colorless or blue,
All right.
or discard a card. If you do, put a lore counter on target permanent you control. And chapter 4, draw 3 cards.
Oh, okay. Draw 3 cards. So in this deck, we're maybe not doing much of the first 3 chapters. We're just sort of letting it spin.
Yeah.
You could target itself to speed up when you get the card draw.
Yeah, I guess if you have nothing else to do. But I'm thinking like part of the idea is we want something to do on turn 1. We put this down, and we know either in 3 more turns or when we double time, we're going to cash this in.
Ancestral Tale is a card in the format that I think is on the border of what is acceptable power level wise, and not because of the draw 3 cards. It's worrying in the same way that Faithless Looting was worrying, in which you can play it on turn 1, discard 3 cards and draw 3 cards, and have a full graveyard to reanimate from.
Because it can put counters on itself.
Yeah.
You could just say, Chapter 1, discard, sure.
Yes.
Put a counter on this. Chapter 2, you can rip through all those right away and turn this into a blue mana, discard 3 cards, draw 3 cards. Interesting.
So here's a 6-chapter saga called Olgol's Calling. It costs 3 generic, and all 6 chapters are the same. It's add a colorless.
All right. I spin this up. I have a long time to get my double time shanty online because I can, spin this up whenever I want. And then at some point when I cast the double time, I kind of cash this in for 6 extra mana that turn. And colorless is maybe good because we've seen a couple colorless cards we want to play.
The downside is you couldn't use it to cast things like Double Time Shanty since it has no generic in its casting cost.
Yeah.
But you can absolutely use this for Hydra or Hydra adjacent cards with their X's with the X costs.
Yeah, if I could manage even one other mana, I'm okay.
Yeah, on a baseline level without any other interactions, it's basically just a mono rock for 3.
Yeah.
How are you looking up all these cards?
So we have all of the sets in an MSE set hub, or also referred to as an egg hub, and we have tags and stuff set up. It has Scryfall searching essentially, so you can do all kinds of funny things to look up cards the same way you would on Scryfall.
So you're able to just like define a format and then say, "Hey, give me the sagas that are, either green or blue within this format."
Yeah, that's exactly the search I have on my screen right now. So another card that stands out to me as potentially being really strong here is an uncommon land from Outpost 0. This is Voyager Station. It's a land outpost. It's double-sided. The front side says that it enters tapped, and it taps for blue. And it has a catastrophe ability that you can tap it, exile 2 cards from your graveyard, and transform it. And the back side of the land says when this land transforms and the beginning of your upkeep, put a Voyager counter on it. Counter on it. Then if it has 5 or more Voyage counters on it, sacrifice it and create an 8/8 blue horror creature token with hexproof.
So this is a ETB tapped blue source. It's just one color, right?
Yeah, just blue.
And then at some point, 1 or 2 things die. I get to flip this, and it's still a blue land at that point, right?
Yep, it still taps for blue on the back half.
But then it's like slowly growing, and then after 5 more turns, normally it would pop out a Kraken?
Crops out an 8/8 blue horror.
Horror. Okay.
Yep.
I forgot. Everything in this format is spooky.
Yeah. Assuming you don't have other ways of adding extra Voyage counters onto it.
Yeah. Okay.
As Khord mentioned in the background there, it is an enchantment land, which means when you do sacrifice it, it does trigger the finale abilities from Vocal Echoes.
Oh.
While we're talking of lands, I want to just rough in a land base.
Sure. What are the lands like in this format? What are the duels?
There's a bunch of them, but I think what we might be looking at here is the typed, I think they're check land equivalents. They have both basic land types and enter tapped unless you control 2 or more other of the 2 basic land types that it is. So for this deck, Cascading Grotto. It's a forest island, enters tapped unless you control 2 or more other forest islands.
Forests and or islands.
Forest and or islands.
Yeah. So you could have 2 forests, 2 islands, or 1 of each.
Oh, type check lands. Oh, okay. Wow, damn.
I think it might make sense too to have the reverberant shore.
The Murmurland?
Yeah, just because you might be able to get a lot of value out of the murmurs.
You might even just, if you need to shove some mana from your double time shanty Old Gall's Calling somewhere, the Murmurlands might do that.
What's that?
Yeah, I'll let Khord describe what a murmur is, since it's
They are lands that enter tapped unless you pay colorless. You can tap to add 1 of 2 colors. They are only in the 5 enemy color pairs. And they also have 4 tap, create a murmur token. It's a colorless Saga Murmur enchantment with Chapter 2, Chapter 3, add colorless.
So this is pay 4 and tap to get more mana next turn, the turn after. This is like our coalition relic. I don't know. Our ability to.
They were designed for for draft formats. You're picking these, they're tap lands, but in the late game, if you're flooding out, you have a way to get finale triggers or something that cares about how many enchantments you control to just get that little bit bigger, maybe.
There's like 1 million murmur cards in your set, right?
Yeah, there's 39 cards that have Murmur in the rules text.
Pretty good.
Most of them are Simic.
Hey.
It is the draft archetype.
Any other Murmur cards we'd consider for this deck?
Are
we going just like full linear mode where we're just shotgunning the biggest creatures we can as soon as we can? Or are we going to try to play a little interaction?
Well, I certainly don't feel like it makes sense to run counter spells here, because it does feel like with the amount of X creatures we have, we're maximizing our drops on our creatures. But it wouldn't hurt us to have some sort of removal.
Yeah. If creatures can tap and stun type creatures, something like that. Stun counters. Hey, there we go. Counters matter.
Oh.
Yeah, so yeah, stun counters do a lot here, and
Strain?
Yeah, Outpost Zero has a mechanic called Strain, which taps and puts a stun counter on something. So we have... So Quell Rebellion is a potential option. It's a 4-mana instant, choose one. The owner of target non-land permanent puts it on their choice of the top or bottom of their library, or strain up to 2 target non-land permanents. And to strain, tap it and put a stun counter on it.
Oh, it is an instant. So we can strain them on their turn and then double time Shanty to keep them down. And say have like 2 turns where we just get to swing all in.
Another option is because we have some stuff that cares about us using artifacts, there is Overwatch Sentinel, also from Outpost Zero. It's a 2-drop artifact creature, 2/1 with flash flying, and when it enters, strain target non-land permanent and opponent controls.
Oh yeah, this is what I was thinking of.
Yeah, it only hits one thing, but it's searchable with Recyclotron, so you're very likely to get it. And it having flash lets you put it on your opponent's turn.
Yeah, I've been playing in regular Magic. I've been playing Flood Pit's Drowner, which is very similar to this card, and quite a nice card.
All right. Let me put in some basic lands into the deck build I got going. Let's see where we're at in terms of card count. So with 25 basics, we have 3 slots left in the deck.
Okay, well, I do have one other option for us to look at here. This is also from Outpost Zero. This is Burgeoning Ascomycota. Ascomycota.
This is the reckoning for all the crazy card names you guys have.
Yeah. So this is a 3-cost 2/2 fungus horror creature in green. It costs 2 and a green. Whenever you attack, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. And it also has tap, remove any number of +1/+1 counters from this creature, add that much mana in any combination of colors.
So I guess if we know we're going to be attacking, because this is whenever you attack.
Yeah.
So this is like Adeline or whatever, where you could play this and then attack with a different creature the first turn, and it will get that counter before it even gets over Summoning Sickness.
Yeah, kind of if we're thinking about how we're idealizing this deck, we got like turn 1 tempo compies, turn 2 2-mana Serpent of the Void or Path Treading Tank, or Overwatch Sentinel, or Recyclotron. So lots of turn 2 options.
Okay.
Turn 3 Ascomycota.
What one was that?
The one we just talked about, the fungus horror.
Sorry, that name slipped off of my brain. I apologize.
It's all good. And then kind of turn 4, play a couple more of our X creatures and Overwatch Sentinels to tempo them so that we can get to our big double time Shanty.
Yeah.
Turn 6 and just have real big creatures to attack with and to stop them from blocking.
The creatures can be big. Did we end up making good on our Saga Dream here?
We've got a couple. We've got Ancestral Tale and Olgal's Calling.
Yeah. This is kind of interesting because it's feeling pretty similar to a Simic deck I've been playing on Arena. That's like got Innkeeper's Talent and Ouroboros and this Flood Piss Drowner, Druneth, which is the creature that copies things and gets bigger. I like that you've arrived in like some of the same place, but not quite the same place. Using all cards from just your sets. That's so sick. Ouroboros. You need that in this deck. Every deck needs a Ouroboros. You guys know that one?
I do not. I have not. I've been keeping up with this instead of Standard.
Fair enough. That one's at the beginning of combat on your turn, put X+1/+1 counters on each creature you control, where X is this creature's power.
What?
Oh my god.
So it's a 1/3. It's 4 mana 1/3.
Okay.
So first turn, it just puts like one counter on everything, unless you have Innkeeper's Talent, unless you have
Yeah.
some maps, unless you know.
Unless you throw what is that hammer? Colossus hammer?
The hammer on it.
Yeah, it's like an instant commander classic. Not a staple. It's only for certain decks, but yeah, it gets real big real fast. And even in the all these little plinky Simic babies, if it lives 2 turns, you're attacking for 30. If it lives 1 turn, you get attacked for 12, which is already pretty good.
All right. So we have a 60 card deck. This format
Right,
is
right.
played with sideboards. I want to probably not read all these cards, but I have like a list of cards that I think might work in maybe other versions of this deck, or to just sit in the
Okay.
sideboard for other exploration.
Okay.
First one is Garrick Augmented Tracker. It's a planeswalker from OPZ. It puts +1 counters on creatures when they enter. It adds mana, and it has a finisher, like ultimate loyalty ability. So it might go in the deck for some slight tweaks. Maybe if you're swapping out the sagas, it's another option. Next is Tremolos Pledge from Vokal. It's a 5 mana, or it has 2 Brid symbols in the cost, so how much it costs varies. But it's a 4-chapter saga that ramps you, bounces things, and has a mana outlet for all the mana that you are getting when you double time Shanty.
That seems pretty good as getting a variety of stuff out of a saga might be pretty good when you double time, because you solve a couple different problems at once. You can handle different kinds of decks.
One other one that I have pulled aside that we hadn't talked about yet is Celestial Generator from Outpost 0. It's a 3-cost artifact. You can tap it to add a colorless and put a charge counter on it. Or you could tap it, remove X charge counters from it. You look at the top X cards of your library and can cast a spell with mana value X or less from among them without paying its mana cost. The rest go on the bottom of your library in a random order.
Oh, so you cash these in. Okay.
Yeah. And if you have a charge counter on it, you could potentially double one or more charge counters. You could potentially double them with double time Shanty. The only downside, that has a negative interaction with your X cost spells, because if you cast them for 0, they enter as 0/0 creatures.
Oh, yeah. You can't hit those. Yeah. Funny.
But if you do an alternate build, you could maybe put some sort of like big expensive cost finisher in there or something. Or you can just grab free copies of the Sentinel or the Compies or the Recyclotron.
All right. Any last minute includes into this deck?
There's got to be something I'm missing with the implants, I feel.
Yeah, if this were to switch to an implant core, there is a card, Archon of Artifice, that makes all of your non-creature artifacts into 3/3 constructs. So all of your implants are suddenly creatures that care about the tokens that were on the counters that were on them.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like we have a ton of that right now. Of like little, I mean, we have that junk creature, but overall, maybe not quite enough doodads floating around.
Right.
Cool. Yeah, and maybe we'll all just toss these in the show notes or something. So yeah, doing this deck build, talking through this project has made it clear that like you don't have to like fully engage, you don't have to be ready for a tournament deck. You don't have to be like really pouring over every possible thing. You could just say, here's a starter card. Let me find some cards that go with this, and spend half an hour making a cool deck and then saying, I'm done. Or maybe I'll show it to someone, or maybe I'll fire up Cockatrice. Cockatrice is the program that's used to play with custom Magic. You can play regular Magic with it too. Besides, installing Cockatrice, installing set files, there are pins in the Discord for how to do that setup. What other stuff do we want to talk about for deck building?
So we have a thread in the Discord where people post and talk about their deck lists. So that could be an avenue or an end to either talk about the deck that you're building or see what things other people are building to potentially be a seed of an idea. We talked briefly about the cards that are hosted on the MSE Set Hub. Well, on the searchers, we have a list of tags that can help shorthand searching for cards.
Oh.
So we have removal, counterspell, card advantage. We even have anomaly tagged, so you can look at all the two-typed permanents as well.
Oh, how does that work? Are you manually tagging these? How does that work?
Yeah, so we're manually tagging them in MSE before exporting, and then those tags become searchable in the set hub.
Huh. I haven't really done any tagging in MSE.
It's pretty easy. You just write it in the comments of the card.
Oh, okay. And then it, when it does the export, it figures that out, and then you could say tag cantrip, or like, I guess the tags are just like whatever the four of you agree.
We do have a cantrip.
Cantrip is one of our tags.
Love it. And that's like a fun way to also just like see slices across the sets. What were the discard cards that everyone designed? What were the reanimate cards that everyone designed?
Yep. Yeah. We have a list of I think looking at this, there's roughly 10, 15-ish tags on here.
Oh, okay.
We list removal, edicts, damages, counterspells, tappers, bounces, hand disruption, wraths, cantrips, reanimations. And we have a full list of those tags pinned on the Beacon Constructed channel.
Oh, okay. This also feels like a way that, as you're working with each other, you can tag the intent of the card. Like you could say, these are the, 12 pushed cards in the set that I think would be good in standard. You could tag like, will be changed soon, or, work in progress, I guess.
Yeah. We've discussed some other kind of more niche utility tags, and it's definitely the type of thing that will kind of grow and change over time.
Yeah. Is this common to other egg hubs, or?
It's a feature that all egg hubs are able to use. Whether or not other people are using them regularly, I don't know, because we had to go through and manually tag the cards ourselves.
Pretty commonly, I've seen tags used for cycles of cards. Because I believe there's an amount of automation or amount of like displaying that the hub will do on the preview page if things are tagged as cycles.
Oh, that's cool.
So all of the cycles in Vokal are tagged. There's a couple of other random tags that like I have put in my set because I like to tag things for myself.
Tags.
All the way down.
Very cool. Tags. I have not really started to do this at all. Maybe it wasn't really a thing back in Plane Sculptors.
It definitely was not.
Rip Plane Sculptors, by the way.
Yeah, rip Plane Sculptors.
I still have 2 sets on there that I need to refinish.
All right, yeah. So I'd say the main thing to do is to check out the deck builder, which we'll have a link for in the show notes. Click into that. Just like start doing searches. Just make a little deck. Have fun doing that. It's super easy to export. And then if you want to get a little more involved, hop into the channel, maybe look at some other decks, maybe give some feedback. Yeah, and then it can spin out from there. So
yeah, the one important note I'll give is this set hub also features the microsets. So in order to see just the cards that are in Beacon Constructed, you actually have to search the format standard as well in your search terms.
Oh, because it has all the microsets from a couple months ago. Interesting.
Yep.
I gotta say, also, this website's pretty fast. Maybe I'm just more used to our old buddy Plane Sculptors, but I do a search and then like I can scroll and those images load basically as fast as I can scroll. So kind of sick.
Yeah, the people working on this have done us a true service.
Yeah,
they deserve all the praise.
Alrighty. Anything else about Beacon Constructed we want to tell people about? Is there like a hidden gem or something, or a deck you guys have already made to tease people with?
Oh, there's a ton of decks already thrown in the deck list channel.
Yeah.
One of my personal favorites is exploiting a card from Outpost Zero called Piercing Duplicate. This is a deck that Khord put together very recently, if you want to talk about that, Khord.
Yeah, it takes advantage of Piercing Duplicate, which is a card that makes other artifacts and creatures enter as a copy of it.
Oh.
And so the deck is chock full of a bunch of zero cost artifacts and a bunch of ways to make artifacts cheaper or make copies of artifacts, all sorts of things. Just to get as many of this card on the battlefield as I possibly can.
Why do you want multiple? What's the ability on it?
It has other symbiotes you control get +1/+1, and it itself is a symbiote.
Oh, okay. So you want to make like 5 treasures or 5 junk tokens, and then make 5 more duplicates, and then they all give each other +5/+5. Yeah. All right, that's pretty sick.
The deck I've been most enjoying messing around with recently, which has, I caused some discussions about what cards we may need to nerf, is a MMX2 The Factory deck.
Oh.
Which doesn't actually have that card in the main deck.
Oh, okay.
It pulls it from the sideboard.
You're in affinity mode. Alrighty, so plenty of things to be enticed by there. But before we get out of here, I want to tell people about the usual things that they can get involved with Beacon. If you're not quite up for building a deck, but you'd want to send us a card, I would love for you to send us a card for our November Design Challenge. This is also your easy way to get on the show. So if you've been listening for a little while and you want us to read your name out, read your card out, submit something for November Mage, design a red mana dork. Wizards just kind of opened the floodgates on the 2 mana red creature that can tap for mana. This used to be like a green thing for the longest time, but now red's allowed to do this too. And we've been seeing like the commons for all that. We've been seeing kind of the basic version. Maybe it has reach. Maybe it has like an extra little activated ability late game. What are you guys thinking for red mana dorks? Where do you think it should go next?
Oh, well, I actually have one in Outpost Zero that I really enjoy.
Oh, okay.
It's gotten a lot of play.
Yeah.
It's the one that gives haste, right?
Yeah, it grants haste. So it is. Let me find it here real quick.
We need a mana dork tag.
Here we go. Okay, so this card is Construction Bot. It's 1 and a red. It's a 2/2 artifact creature.
Okay.
It taps for red, or you can tap it, sacrifice it, and add 1 mana of any color. So it's a non-typed treasure. And then it has, if mana produced by this creature is spent on a creature spell, that creature gains haste until end of turn.
For just the sacrifice version, or?
No, it's just if mana produced by this creature.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. We got like a Arena of Glory, but a little robot. Pretty sick. Khord, I think you've already submitted one for this challenge.
I have. I wanted to find a way to do a 1 mana dork.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll look forward to that when we get the submission. We also got bonus points for people to shoot for. These are optional. Noof Ember Mage. The mana value plus the power plus the toughness of the creature is 9. So 3 mana, 3/3, or some other weirder version of that. And then no Ember Mage. Give it a leaves the battlefield or dies trigger. So, Ember Mages, they're going to burn out. Something's going to happen when they die. Give us something cool for some fireworks to go off. When this episode comes out, you'll have just a couple more days to submit for it, but it'll be due November 28th. So please get those cards in. And I think that'll be about it for the podcast for the week. Hop on the Discord. We've been plugging the Discord nonstop. That's where all this collaboration's happening. And also where all the kind of general Magic discussion. You've been doing some avatar drafts. Post your cool decks, your cool combos in the Discord as well. Thanks both of you for coming on.
Yeah.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Anything you want to tell people about?
Sure. Yeah. I'm an author. I would love it if people would be willing to come take a look at the stuff that I have published on Amazon under my publishing name, Dylan Tyler Ward. I'd be very thankful for that.
Awesome. Khord, anything you want to tell people about?
Outside of my normal stuff, my choir is putting out an album soon.
Oh.
We just got the final mixes of our pieces, and so we're having our listen through before we okay it, and they're gonna put it out. It'll be on Spotify. It'll be on all the places you think you'll find it, probably.
Okay.
I'm not in charge of distribution.
Well, if we get a link for that, I'll throw that in the show notes too. But yeah, find all 3 of us on the Discord. And most of all, thanks everyone for listening.